Well, hello everyone. How are you all doing? It's your boy again Snow here. And today I'm gonna talk about the strings. Uh, mm, so we are done with packages and modules in the block one. Second was for exceptions, and I cross-checked all the answers were fine. And in block three, we are gonna cover strings. So I mean, there's not much to discuss over here. Let's just get started. Which of the following are characters encoding standard names? So, as you all might know, a particular character needs to be encoded in a particular digit or in particular fashion so that it can be standardized and recognized all over the different platforms. So that their conversion could be made simpler. For example, I believe 65 is for A and 97 is onward goes for caps lock characters. So these type of spaces has 32 as its value. So there is this code point or a particular digit which is assigned to each type of characters, which is a standard for it based on a particular standard name. So there are two pretty famous ones. This is the most famous American standardization code for international information interchange. American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Okay, so that is the one, and the second one is Unicode. Yeah, these two share some part in common. For example, 127 code points are common inside these. Fine. Which of the following are true about string encodings used by Python? Code point is a number which corresponds to the character. I just discussed about it, so that is true. Mm, UTF-8 encoding cannot be used in Python source file. That's in common, which is what was the question? Following are true. Fine. Mm, okay, the always begins with okay, yeah. So this one will be correct. The Python escape sequence always begins with backslash. So escape sequence, if you don't know, it's there are these symbols. It is there. So and also, for example, this. So within a string, these type of escape sequences can be placed, and they perform some activity when the string is either stored somewhere or it's printed out on the screen. For example, this is for new line. So whenever we try to print something like p backward slash h, and then we try to print it, then it would be printed like p, and then on to the next line we get h. So there are different type of functionalities based on different escape sequences. I believe this is for tab, so it gives like 8 or 4 spaces between the characters. So for example, if we want to print backward slash, then we can escape it using this escape sequence, and then backward slash would be printed. Otherwise, it would have considered this character itself as an escape sequence. Okay, so that was enough for this one. Which of the following expressions evaluate to true? Hmm. Okay, so let's understand about what odd and CHR function do. Odd or char. Hmm. So this ordinance, this odd function gets the code point of the respective character. So let's say it's some x value, and what this char uh, thing does is it converts that code point value into respective character. So for in this case, if we just convert it into odd k and then just convert it back to character, then it would definitely be as k. Okay. What we are doing is we are adding plus 2 in between. So ordinance of k, odd of k, x plus 2. That means it would be shifted by two characters, I, G, and if you know alphabet, uh, it goes like I, G, L, and M. Okay, so plus 2 would be 1 and then 2. That is why when we convert it back to character, it would give M and not I or any other letter for that matter. Mm, Similarly, for example, if there was A over here and capital A over here, then as I told, small a has small a denotes 97 and capital A denotes 65. So subtracting their ordinance would give 32, which is the 4.4 space. So this one is correct. We don't need to add this, we just need to subtract this. Let me check if I gave the correct value upstairs. What's okay? So here is a small correction over here. Small a has 97 while capital A has 65. It's just a standard. There is no logic behind it. That's how it was decided to be kept. Which of the following are valid Python strings? Literals. Okay. So, for example, we have single quotes, we have double quotes, and even we have this triple quotes type of theme, which is for printing multi-line statements. This. Okay. So this is for multi-line string. So why we have these two different type of and three different type of ways for having a string literal is, for example, one reason could be, in this case we have single quote with inside the string. So in order for this entire string to be recognized properly, we should have it in double quotes, so that otherwise if we have it in single quote, then it would be hard to determine when does the string start and when does it end. Okay, so we are gonna need single quote and then if we need a double quote, for example, if this thing was like this, then this string would also be fine for it. So but we don't have double quotes inside, so this would again create a problem, like is this the length of the string, or this is this the length of the string, or is this the length of the string. So this thing makes it little invalid. Hence the two answer would be, first is this, because as I explained, different pairing needs to be there. This would create problem because, like I told earlier, this is for escape sequence, and this so it would escape this character, making the string invalid because it hasn't been closed in this double quote hasn't been closed. So this is wrong, this is wrong. We are left with this one, and this looks fine because single quotes, and there is this single quote, but we have these triple quotes outside, so this is fine. Which of the following assignments can be performed without raising any exceptions? Okay, so we don't want any error or any exception to be thrown. So which of these are correct? There are two correct answers. Okay. So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to assign the value at ith index into the index of zeroth, into the zeroth index, which is not allowed because it's a string and it is immutable. And immutable means the values cannot be changed. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is incorrect. Mm, okay, fine. And in this case, so what we are trying to do is we are trying to assign new value to s, which is the -2th index. And in this case it goes like this, and the negative index goes like this. From the last character, -1, -2, the positive one goes like this, 0, 1, 2, from the start. So this is fine. This we can do this. We can perform this operation. It will just result into minus m, uh, not minus m, m, as is equal to character m. Okay, so this is fine. Here we are trying to access a value, an index which is out of the range, out of the length of the string. So this is wrong. What this type of thing is, this is basically slicing. So we get the starting value, the stop value, and the step value. This step value is optional. So here we have been given 2 as a step value. That means it would go through the entire string and hop and skip one places in between those two steps. It would skip one character at every trace. Okay, so the answer for this would be, first R would be picked, H would be skipped, Y would be picked, M would be skipped, E would be picked. This would be the answer for this one, and this is a valid statement or valid assignment, you may say. Fine. Which of the following snippets output ABC to the screen? Fine. We need to get ABC as an output. Let's not start with the first one. Just randomly let me pick. I'm gonna pick the third one because this looks correct. So even in this case, we have just given the stop value because the syntax goes like this, right? Which I discussed earlier: start, then stop, and then step. So here stop value is given. So 0, 1, and 2. The stop value exactly is not big, it's just one less than the stop value. This is how the syntax has been designed. So it starts from 0, 1, 2. So A, B, and C would be picked. So it would pick A, B, C, and that's what we require. In this case as well, we are skipping one character like in earlier case. So A would be picked, X would be skipped, B would be picked, Y would be skipped, and C would be picked. Again, this would pick, give ABC. There's no need to check the other two options because the two are correct, but I'm still gonna do it for the sake of explanation. Let's say we are trying to do for this one -3. So -1, -2, -3, and this is the start. The ending would always go in this direction, especially when the step isn't given as negative. If we have been given like this -1, then the traversing or the movement or the picking of the character would be done in the opposite direction. So in this there's no -1 or so, so it would be default is as +1. That means it goes in the forward direction. Fine. So in this case, answer would be CBA, which is not what we desire. We wanted ABC. So this is wrong. And in this case, -2. -2 is there. Okay. So I believe we are gonna pick Z, C is skipped, Y, B is skipped, X. I believe this would be the answer. This should be the answer for this one. You might need to cross check this one, but I believe this is the correct thing. But this is not what we desired. We desired ABC, so these two are correct. What is the expected output of the following code? Fine. We have CSSNA counter initialized to 0. Looping has been performed, and we are checking each character within plain cross 2. Plain cross 2 would be CESSNA and then CESSNA, kind of concatenated. So two times is there now. So that is why those two, it has been concatenated like two times. So one, two. So let's see how many E's and A's if we are traversing each character. This is the syntax for doing so. If we are traversing each characters within this entire string, let's see how many E's and A's are there, because that's what would increment the counter each time. So we have four in total. That is why the counter value would increment to 4. There's nothing wrong with the syntax or anything. So the code is not erroneous or anything. 4 would be correct. What is the expected output of the following code? See, in this case, what it is trying to do is this plane has string value, but it is trying to add an integer to it, to an integer, which is not allowed in Python. We can add a string with a string. For example, if this was black and plus black, then it would have just joined those two together, black, black. But we, and even 2 plus 2 would be allowed, 4. So string with string is allowed to, integer with integer addition is allowed, but integer to string is not allowed. We would see for in future that even in case of comparison, some form of comparison is allowed and some form of it is not. We would see that what I'm talking about soon enough. Okay, so this is wrong because this operation is not allowed. This one, fine. Which of the following expression evaluates to false and raises no exception? I'm sick of this. Which of the following expression evaluates to false and raises no exception? Fine. Let's try to evaluate this. Okay, so I was talking about string and integer comparison. This would lead to 1 and 0 inside a string. So, uh, although I mean, this won't make sense. Okay, first see what we are trying to achieve. Which of the following expressions evaluates to false and has no error or any exception being raised? So we are trying to compare a string with an integer, which is always and always returning to false, I believe. So this one is false, but and no exception is thrown. Remember that if we try to do something like less than or greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, then this would raise an error, I believe, or exception. Not equal to is fine, but then again, even in case of not equal to, it would give a false by default. Okay, and less these type of these type of comparison are not allowed in between integer and string. So this would give false. Now this evaluates to 999 and 999999999. Okay, and all of this is string. Less than, this is fine, but what we want is true, is false, but what we are obtaining over here is true. So this won't be the answer. This one would be the answer. Let's check other options as well. A L A L A L A N. So this up till this, the comparison goes fine. I mean, these both strings are equal, but after this the sky value of this is 65 and for small a is 97 as discussed earlier. So this would again lead to true as an operation, as an output, and what we are trying to find is false. Again, not what we desire, and in this case as well, this would give an throw an exception or an error, because like I said, this would give a string, we are trying to compare it with integer, error. Fine, too much of discussion in this one. Which of the following expressions evaluate to true and raise no exceptions? Okay, so now we are trying to find true and no exception being raised. String none would return none and not equal to none, which is false. These two are same thing, same type of string with same values inside it. So this would give false because we are saying not equal to. In fact, they are equal, so it would give false. String none is equal to none. This, I believe, is not a valid comparison because this would give none. But as you can see, this is not a string. This is actual and none value, and I don't believe this comparison is allowed. And even if it is allowed, it would give a false value because string and this is another type of variable, another type of value or constant, not a variable. So these two are not correct and not true, not equal. So this is wrong, this is wrong. We are left with two answers. Let's just check these two right away, but then I will give the explanation. Small a is 97, capital A 65, which is true. The rest of this is won't even be checked because the first character itself is what gives the difference, and this is true, so this is fine. In second case, an empty string, or I believe it's a space, even if you consider it as space, when we multiply it by zero, it eventually comes as nothing. Even it's not even just, I believe it's not even just single quotes. It's just a string which is considered to have the least value. So I mean, this is just default type of true. I mean, it is not this. This is just like comparing these, comparing something like this, less than and one into fourth. That means okay, fine, something is there, but there is nothing over there. So this is considered as true by default, irrespective of whatever value is here. Something with least ASCII value would also be considered as true when we try to perform this type of comparison because we have multiplied the string with zero. Fine. Which of the following expressions evaluate to true and there is no exception? Okay, true and there is no exception. We see in ABC, this is true because BC is there in ABC. Fine. Nothing, not in nothing. Okay, so this is false. Uh, for example, this single quotes. I mean, this type of syntax means nothing is there inside a string, and it is present. It is considered to be present in all the string. Nothing is present everywhere. That's a weird way to teach it, but okay. What Python says is this syntax is for mm, having a string which doesn't contain any value. That is fine. And when we try to see if it is in some particular string or not, we always consider it as true. Nothing or no string is always present in any type of string. Even this would consider it as true. So okay, but what they have done is they have used not in between. That means this would result into false. As this is wrong, XYZ not in XYZ. Again, we can see XYZ present inside the string, but they have used not in between. That means this will result in false. That's not what we require. There are two answers we can directly cross check this one. But let's see the explanation. Okay, so the explanation would be the same as this one. Not going to repeat it. Which of the following expressions evaluate to false and there is no exception? False. Okay, so right away I can see the third one to be false. 1, 2, 3 directly as a whole is not present in this string. If this string was something like this, then this would be true. So this is false. Not A in ABC. Okay, I will come to this one a bit later. This is true because a new line character is there inside this string. Because this is a multi-line character, and you can see the triple quotes or the triple double quotes are in the next line. That means somewhere within this string we have backward slash n. So this is true, but then we want to see false as an output. So this won't be the correct option. A not in ABC would result in, let's see if A is there in ABC. Okay, that is there, true. But what they have done is they have used not, which will lead to false. But what they have done outside is this is they have used not. That means it would result in true. And what we are looking for is false. So this is not correct. I would just go through it again. A in ABC, that would be true. A not in ABC would be false. Not of false would be true. What we're looking for is false. That means this is incorrect. We could directly select this one, but let's see the explanation for this one. Okay, so what they have used is not A in ABC, which shouldn't be confused as A not in ABC. This is not equal. These two statements are not the same. Okay, this is this cool feature in Microsoft Whiteboard. I know you haven't signed for this, but see. Okay. Mm, so not A in ABC. This part would be evaluated first, and then we would try to see if this is in ABC or not. Not of any valid string would result in false. And what we are trying to see is if false in ABC or not, which is not a proper way of doing it, but this won't throw any exception. But the value which would come out of it is false. This is just a like very weird way of evaluating an expression. But Python doesn't throw any exception, I believe, in this type of scenario. False in ABC would result in false. Maybe you can check if true in ABC does something or not. Mm, okay. And what does that return? Okay. What is the expected output of the following code? Mary had 21 little sheep. Okay, so this blog I didn't tell you about it. It has like 16 questions. So this would be a small, slightly longer one. We are trying to split the string. So let's see what this part does. This first part. It would split it into a list, I believe. Mary had 21 similarly little and sheep. And we are trying to pick the second and the 2th index 0, 1, 2. So this would result into this, and we are trying to check if this is a digit. So this function is digit is a predefined function, and it would check if this string is a digit, contains a digit, not contains, but is the entirety of the string, the entire string is a digit or not, which it is. Then it would result as true. Which what is the expected output of the following code? Here they are trying, they already have split values. I mean they have many values, and they are trying to use join function, join function or method. They are using join function, let's say. And see, if you're trying to join join these things with the single quotes, this is the way of representing it. If the string has single quotes and we want to use single quotes inside the string, then we use it this way. Similarly, in case of double quotes, we can use it this way: backward slash and then double quotes. But here the functionality is different. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to join these four values using this entire string, which is just a single quote. So this would give something like Mary had 21 sheep. Fine. And in this thing, we are just picking the 0th part of this entire string, because this is start and stop. Stop minus 1, 1 minus 1 would be 0, and start is 0. So only the first character is being picked, which is capital M, which when we check is lower would return to false, because it's a caps lock character and it is not lower. This would give a false. Which of the following can be used to find a given substring within a string? Mhm. There's this pre-built method called dot index. I believe this was actually a method. See, when we used a string dot join and then the argument inside it, it is considered as method. When we have something like this print, which isn't use something in a way like string dot print. So this means it doesn't belong to any object or any instance of a class. That means it is existed freely as a function. Whereas in case of this join, it is actually a method. That's what my understanding is. Which of the following can be used to find a given substring within a string? Hmm. So dot index would, for example, we have character and we are trying to find a. So it would give the syntax, I believe, would be something like this. A. Okay. So it would give the index of at the first occurrence within this string. So 0, 1, 2. I believe this would return 2 to us. That means this way we can find which of the following can be used to find a given substring. So this is fine. Slicing just pick a part of a string. We cannot find anything this way. Hmm. I believe there's no such function as find. Function is not there, but I believe a method is there. But find as a function is not there. R find is there, and R find is able to get the substring from within the string. I believe this works in a similar way as index. Mm, the difference between these two is if if the value, if the character or the substring is not found in case of index, it would give a value error. Whereas in this case, I believe it gives -1 as an output, but it definitely doesn't throw any error. You can cross check this one, okay? Um, the explanation of this too. No error is thrown. Fine, it's raised. Okay, so this one gives a value error if the value is not found, and in this case, it is it doesn't give any, it doesn't raise any error, and yeah, I believe it gives -1. Which of the following snippets can be, how many more are there? This is the last one. Uh, which of the following snippets can be used to build a new string consisting of sorted characters contained in the ZYX string assigned to the letters variable? Okay, so what we are trying to do is build a new string consisting sorted characters, characters being these ones assigned to a letters variable. and these characters are assigned to this variable. Fine. So let's see the four options. Let's start with the starting. So what does sorted do is it would I believe zyx was there. Zyx sorted would give sorted would give something like x, y, z, or z. So these are organized based on their ASCII values. So obviously x comes before y and then comes z. So this would be the sorted value. But then if we assign it to string, it would be a list which is actually being assigned. What we want is x, y, z as a string being assigned. So this is not the correct answer. In this case, first the xyz zyx has been converted to list. Okay, fine. Z, Y, and X, and then they have sorted it using this sort method. Fine. That means we have X, Y, and Z. See how their index got changed when we sorted it, and then we are joining it without any value. That means they are just adjacent to each other and joined into a new string, and that's what we wanted. Cool. Over here we are trying to perform all this similar operation in a just single go. So here in this case we had x, y, and z returned, but um, what we did here is we have concatenated those, and it has become 2xyz. So this is also correct answer. We don't even have to look at this one because I believe two answers were correct. But let's see. So, okay, what it's trying to do is apply sort directly onto letters, which is not allowed because this is a string. String is immutable. I mean, although irrespective of it, even if it was mutable or not, string doesn't support sort method directly inside it. Yeah, the string doesn't has sort method as its property, so it cannot be applied. Hmm, fine. Yeah, this would be a decent explanation for this one. It doesn't have a sort method by default. Okay, so these two are correct answers, and that would be the end of block 3. We have two more blocks left, and yeah, hope you guys learned something from it as I tried to explain it to you. Thank you guys for watching. Do hit that subscribe button and like the video if you liked it. Thank you.